Ladies and gentlemen, Raila Odinga is a very angry man. And Raila Odinga is very bitter with the ODM members of parliament who voted for the finance bill and those who were absent during that voting. For those who followed the voting yesterday, 176 members of parliament voted for that bill. 81 members of parliament voted against the bill. And 92 members of parliament were absent. And out of the 92 members of parliament who were absent, 72 of them were from Azimio. And Raila Odinga today expressed his anger through a statement which was released to the media earlier today by ODM party through its spokesperson, the Secretary General Edwin Sifuna. In this video, I want us to look at why Raila Odinga is bitter with these members of parliament and why he issued the statement. Let me begin by reading for you the statement. You can get the statement from the official pages of ODM party. The statement reads, Statement on members who defied party position on the Finance Bill 2023. The party is in receipt of many complaints from its general membership regarding the conduct of its members of the National Assembly during yesterday's vote on the Finance Bill 2023. The party has therefore commenced disciplinary proceedings against the following members. So the first group is those who voted for the bill, and there are 4 actually, beginning by Esther Passaris. So I'm surprised that only 4 members of ODM voted for this bill. And then he's also listed, how many? He has also listed 24 members of parliament who were absent during that voting. And I want us to go through this statement by Raila Odinga, and it concludes, in line with the party's disciplinary rules, notice to show cause why disciplinary action should not be taken have been issued to the said members. They are expected to respond within the next 48 hours. So which means, I think by tomorrow, 2 days, that's 48 hours, that's by Saturday. All of them should have responded why they either voted for the bill or they absconded. And because in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence, there must be an objective which forced Raila Odinga through ODM party to release this statement. That's what I want us to do. But before we do that, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is now. Without any further ado, let us dive in. And by the way, the issue of Babu Owino, I think, is something which has attracted a lot of attention, especially the video which I did earlier. You can refer to it, and I think most of you guys are in agreement that Babu Owino has actually created a niche for himself within ODM party. If you look at this particular statement, there are almost 24 members of parliament who were absent, but Babu Owino was the only one which was trending. Now, why do you think Raila Odinga is not taking action against these members of parliament? Because remember, some few days ago, William Ruto actually warned any Kenyan Kwanza members of parliament who are going to oppose this particular bill. And Kenyans were like, why would William Ruto force Kenya Kwanza members of parliament to vote for this bill? And most people interpreted it to mean that it was basically interfering with with another arm of government, which is parliament. So by Raila Odinga issuing this particular statement to ODM members of parliament, probably for those who look at everything from a democratic perspective, it might not be democratic. But why do you think Raila Odinga is taking this step? Number one, I tend to think that Raila Odinga wants to stamp his authority in ODM party as the party leader. The ODM as a political party agreed, and they made it public, that for them, they will be opposing this bill. So it was expected that majority of members of parliament from ODM party, or almost all, were going to vote against this bill. The fact that 4 members of parliament opposed, forget about those 4. I think the main issue is the 72 members of parliament from Azimio, which is worrying Raila Odinga as the Azimio leader. And then he's narrowing down. Apart from those 72, he has actually picked now 24. So he wants to stamp his authority that as a party, if you say you go to parliament and vote, that's exactly what you need to do. So I'll be waiting to see the response, especially from some specific members of parliament. For example, the member of parliament for Oriri, the member of parliament for Rongo. Who else? There were these members of parliament, the member of parliament for Bondo, the member of parliament for Langata, Jalas. I want to see how they are going to craft or draft their letter in response, because these are some of the members of parliament who are actually expected to vote for this bill because they support Ruto, but probably they did not vote because they feared the impact. So that's number 1 in my view. Number 2, I also tend to think that Raila Odinga is going to use this to identify the member of parliament who are defiant, because they are expected to write individual letters, each one of you. So there are some members of parliament who will be defiant. They'll say, for us, we are not writing because we are members of parliament. We are not accountable to you. Raila Odinga will be able to know from how they are going to react. And after identifying the rebels, probably he will be able now to know the real supporters. Like, for example, personally, I believe, like right now, if I were Ruto, I'd take the 4 members of parliament who supported this bill from ODM side as the ones who are with me. That is Elisha, Karoli, those are the only 2 from Nyanza, and then the other 2 also. Because you don't expect Azimio or ODM members to actually vote for this bill when this bill is that unpopular, especially also unpopular on their ground. So Raila Odinga, basically, I also tend to think is identifying the defiant members of parliament. Like already I know he has identified those 4 as defiant. Let's wait by next week. Some of these members of parliament shall have replied. Then there will be another vote, third reading. So we'll be able to know, Raila Odinga will be able to know those who will defy him. Because now he has told them, this is now the position of the party. So if you go ahead and say no, if you go ahead and say yes, or if you abscond yourself, then it means you are defiant. Number 3, in my view, I also tend to think that the intention of this particular letter is basically to incite the public against these members of parliament. The truth of the matter is that ODM is Raila Odinga and Raila Odinga is ODM. Majority of ODM followers who voted for these members of parliament, there's a chance that they voted for these members of parliament because they were in ODM party. So Raila Odinga is telling them, you are supposed to listen to what the ground is saying. The truth of the matter is that the ground is against this bill. Then you go ahead and vote for the bill. And Raila is saying in this letter, in this press statement, that the party is in receipt of many complaints from its general membership. So it means he's not trying to incite the public against these members of parliament. And number 4, I think the strategy could also be to rally support for the 3rd reading. Which, in my view, if that's the case, then it's genius. Because if, for example, you have members of parliament who, because of one reason or the other, just decided not to be in parliament, then you get a letter to show cause why. Then you have another chance on another next week to be present. What would you do as a member of parliament? Most of them will now be persuaded to actually go to parliament and vote. And you'll expect them to make their vote more louder. So basically, I'm looking at it from a strategic point of view, that Raila Odinga is basically trying to rally the support of his troops, those who are not present. Because if you are not present and you're being asked to explain, then it means next time you'll present yourself and basically vote against the bill. So by that, Raila Odinga shall have achieved his objective. And lastly, if you ask me, I think Raila Odinga is also trying to set the pace for the other Azimio coalition partners. Of course, for Jubilee, most of them are there, have gone. But what about Wiper? There are several members of Wiper Party who also never voted. They were absent. Why do you think they were absent? Is it possible that they were bought? Yeah, so he's setting the pace that ODM is planning to punish the members of parliament. Then Kalonzo Musyoka probably will also rally his troops and issue a warning. I don't know what you think, but that's my take. Thank you guys for taking your time. Just know that if you watch this video up to this particular place, up to this particular stage, just know that I really value it and I don't take it for granted. Thank you guys, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye. What do I tell my daughter? What do I tell her? Anyway, have a good day. Bye-bye.